Curtis Calhoun here with MMA News, and right now I am joined by UFC middleweight Chris Curtis, who is fresh off his win over Rodolfo Vieira this past weekend, UFC Vegas 57. How's it going, Chris?
Life is good, man. Things are going good. Finally,
Awesome.
stop being super sore so I can move around without horrible pain, which is nice.
I gotcha. And a few days after your fight, what are your thoughts on your performance? Takeaways from the fight? How you feeling right now?
I'm pretty happy with it. I wish I would have got to finish. There's a couple of things in there that looking back that didn't quite work out the way we wanted. Made some mistakes. I'm sorry, I just got sleeping a lot. We made some mistakes, but overall I'm happy with it, man. We stopped the 20 for 20 on takedowns. We didn't give up any grappling exchanges. We did the damage. So we can definitely, there's stuff we can build off of, but I'll give myself an 8 out of 10.
Did anything that Rodolfo presented surprise you and your team at all? Obviously, it's a tricky stylistic matchup.
Yeah, it's a hard style matchup, so it kind of forced me to fight a way that's a little bit different than how I normally fight. It's kind of funny because, I've had other fighters message me like, hey, I don't think the fans noticed, but fighters noticed a lot more that I fought with my hips away the entire fight. I didn't commit my hips. I had fighters message me asking if that was part of the plan. And, we knew what to expect besides his output. He was a lot busier than I thought he was going to be. I never would have guessed he'd take 20 takedown attempts. So that caught me off guard. So I think we kind of dispel the notion of Rodolfo having bad cardio. I don't think he has bad cardio, man. I think maybe he just, he really didn't have anxiety problems. But he came out, he was composed, he was collected, and he showed a lot of heart, man. So, yeah, it's definitely got his mental game in check, and he brought his A game. So I wasn't expecting that much of a cardio push from him.
How do you celebrate the win afterwards?
So I had friends coming from Ohio, so we went out to eat, and then I went to bed because I am 34. I'm old. Sunday, I just sat in bed all day, in pain. And then I went back to practice Monday. So I don't really celebrate too much anymore. I was back in the gym yesterday. It's just easier for me to keep going and not get too big and not get too out of shape. So I celebrate by looking at my bank account and laughing to myself and being relaxed and just going on with life.
I love it. And I saw Brendan Loughnane and you had a brief Twitter exchange yesterday reflecting on how about a year ago you guys were reflecting about life choices and all that stuff. And look at you now, obviously big win streak. What are your thoughts on looking back on that conversation and just kind of the paths you guys have taken?
It's funny, man. Like a year ago, we really were sitting in the kitchen, just like, what are we doing? What are we doing right now? We were just we were both unsure about, what comes next and where our future goes, and had a lot of setbacks. And now, I'm poking at the top 15 and my man's about to make $1 million. So we just laugh about it, man. Brandon's one of my boys. He's such a good friend. He's such a good guy. And we just laugh, and it's crazy to see how quickly things can go from unsure to top of the world. So, on the flip side, they can go right back to being down in the dumps and crazy. So you got to take the wins with the losses, but it's really fun to see, not only myself, I'm happy I'm succeeding, but it's great to see my boy, look over and see my boys doing so well. And I love it, and I absolutely love it.
I remember you mentioned just before your Phil Haas fight that you were considering retiring at one point in time. 7 months later, obviously, how happy are you with that decision to keep going? And how glad are you that you listened to Eric Nixick and the rest of the guys over at Extreme Couture?
It's you're so happy, man. But at the time, we just had a teammate pass away, and you're thinking about him, and his daughter is a big part of the gym. You're seeing her being rather without her dad, and for me to fight, man, my son's back home in Ohio. I don't see him as much as I like, and you start thinking about all the stuff you got to sacrifice to do this, man. Especially when you're not making it, it's becomes hard to justify that. But now, 7 months later, I'm getting ready to take a vacation here after Puna fights. The 16th, I'll take a vacation back home. They'll see my son, hang out. I can spend time with him. We can hang out. I can provide anything that he needs at this point. So it's definitely, I'm really glad that I talked to everybody. I sat back, I listened, and Eric said, "Give us a year, we'll make it happen." And then a month later, we got the call, and it's been uphill since then. So I love it, man. This is a really unforgiving, crazy sport, but sometimes when it stops hating you, she does right by you. So it's very nice.
Then I saw that Joaquin Buckley called you out after the fight. It was kind of weird because I remember you guys mentioned training together somewhat recently. I guess, how thrown off were you by that call out, and what's your reaction to it?
Yeah, when Buckley came to Extreme, man, like we had other gym owners message us like, "Be careful, the dude's a fucking snake," like blah blah blah, And he was a cool dude. He had a fight coming up, so I tried to do everything I can to help him get ready for his fight. Because once you're in the gym, you're a friend. And I guess he's butt hurt because I trained with Albert, his last opponent. He's like, you helped him get ready for me. I'm like, bro, I had my own fight to worry about, and Albert was the best partner. Like,
right.
So, we've had other coaches warn us that he's a fucking snake. And, we tried to offer him a hand. He's a fucking snake. So, fuck Joaquin Buckley. Like, nobody, at this point in my career, man, I'm really, my next goal is to get a number next to my name. And I don't care where you look, I'm ranked higher than Joaquin Buckley on any poll anywhere, any rankings anywhere. So I'm not worried about Joaquin Buckley. He doesn't exist on my radar. If the UFC made that fight, that's one thing. But they're like, "Oh, you asked for Joaquin Buckley." I'm not going to punch down for somebody I don't give a fuck about. Like, if he wants to go clout chase and be special, he can yell in the dark by himself. Nobody gives a fuck about Joaquin Buckley.
Yeah, and I was about to ask you about that because you're probably one win away from getting a spot in the top 15. So is there a specific name that you're looking at, or just somebody in the top 15 now for your next fight?
We thought that this one would actually get me in because, there's been some inactive fighters, but they refuse to remove inactive guys from the list. So I thought, I'm on every other list outside of everywhere, I'm like number 16 or even in the people's top 15. So at this point, man, we don't know. We don't know. I've heard fans throw out Imanov, which would be a fun fight. Then again, I've heard fans throw out Kelvin Gastelum, I think, which is even a more fun fight. So I don't know. You just got to talk to Mick Maynard and see what's going on. But I really want a ranked fight next. I really want to fight a ranked guy. It seems like the rankings people aren't going to move you into the rankings unless you beat a ranked guy. They're just not going to remove. They're not going to remove an inactive guy until they have to. So if that's the case, I want to rank down my next fight. So there's Imanov, there's Gastelum, there's a couple of interesting names in there. Everybody's booked or injured right now, so you're just like, God damn, just gotta wait. Yeah, so we'll see. But the fans are throwing out Imanov and Gastelum a lot, so those seem really fun. But I think Gastelum's probably the most fun of all of those. Gastelum's a fucking, I don't care what people say, Gastelum's a dog, man. He's just dude comes to fight every single fight. I think that'd be a really fun fight, win, lose, or draw. Absolutely. And I want to ask you, how do you feel at middleweight compared to welterweight? Do you feel like middleweight is kind of your long-term home in this division, or are you not ruling out a potential return to welterweight at some point? It's funny, man, because this last fight was one of my big tests for middleweight because Rodolfo Vieira is a big man. He's a very big man. And we put a lot of effort into my strength conditioning these last few months. And I was like, okay, if I get in here, we'll lose or draw. If I just feel too weak, then maybe we go back down to 70. But I felt good. I felt just as strong. I felt great. So I guess I kind of stay at middleweight, man. I feel like I've got more power at middleweight. My conditioning holds up. And more than that, my life isn't miserable. Me at 170, I'm the most miserable fuck you'll ever meet, man. I promise you. My life is just terrible. I hate life. I'm always starving. I'm having to run 5 miles a day. At 85, I can kind of focus on training and the camp. And my fight camp isn't about dieting. It's about getting better. And I think that makes a big difference, and it's shown. So I think I'm going to hang out at 85 for a bit. Yeah, I was about to ask you about that because I feel like a huge benefit is at 85, you're focusing more on the training aspect. You're not worrying as much about dieting, cutting weight, and all that stuff. Do you feel like that's a big benefit for you too? It is, man. It is. At 170, so for me to make 170, there's a 5-week span where I'm eating 700 calories a day for 5 weeks. I'm having to focus on getting every workout in. I can't miss a workout. I've got to do cardio twice a day, every day. And it becomes less about getting better and more about just getting to the weight, getting to the weight. At 85, I cut 8 pounds for this fight.
Mhm.
It took me an hour and I was done. So I'm a small 85er, but I get to focus 100% on technique and being better. I can do my classes. I'm not worried about just rolling. I'm worried about, learning the technique, perfecting the technique, getting better. And it's great. I think it makes a huge difference. Like, once you're focused just from moving weight to being a more complete fighter, like I think good things start happening.
Absolutely, man. And you've been fighting in MMA for 13 years now. Obviously, you got a lot
15,
of experience.
15 pro, 15 overall.
Oh, that's right. 15 overall. Yeah. I want to ask you about that experience when you came to the UFC. Do you feel like it was kind of the right place at the right time for once you got to the UFC, you already had a lot of fight experience? Just kind of want to ask you about that.
Yeah, it sucks to get there late, but I've definitely, I guess I'd rather get there late than too early. I've seen so many guys. Like, how many guys have you seen come from contenders that have under 10 fights? They get signed and then get blown out the water in the UFC because you just don't have the experience. Yeah, I got there late, but I've had every type of fight under the sun. I've had good ones, I've had bad ones, I've had wars, I've had some lopsided ones, lopsided wins, lopsided losses. So I got there seasoned. I don't have to learn the job anymore. I honestly feel like I can hang with most people on the planet. I've seen a lot, I know enough, and I've got the experience. So, it sucks getting there so late in my life, but I don't have to do on the job training anymore.
Yeah, I was about to say, obviously, we talked a little bit about Vieira earlier, obviously a tough matchup. Do you feel like now you're better equipped to take on those trickier matchups as opposed to taking that step to the UFC a couple of years earlier?
Most definitely. Like you always learn more from your losses than your wins. And I'm in the UFC now. I'm 29-8. I don't have a perfect record. And so many guys I think get in there with the perfect record. You're like 8-0 or 6-0. And it becomes protecting that record, and there's a certain fear you have, and it sets you back. I don't have that fear, man. I don't have a perfect record. I don't need it. I'm a dog, man. That's what I do, and I've got 13 years of experience behind me. So in the fight, in the round, I think there are many guys I fought who are better than me, like on technical areas, whatever. But in the round, I've got 13 years of experience and know-how to figure out. That's 13 years, not just fighting, but 13 years of practice rooms, of training, of sparring rounds, of grappling rounds to pull on for every situation. So, I'm not a guy you're going to make scare. I'm not a guy you're going to make uncomfortable. I'm not a guy you're going to confuse very easily. Like, I've seen a lot. I've done a lot. And I've got answers for most things, I feel like. Especially now the team I have, it's just everything just kind of falling into place.
Absolutely. And a couple more questions from me. Obviously, we got a big middleweight title fight happening this weekend between Adesanya and Cannonier. What are your thoughts on that matchup? And kind of just break it down for us.
It's a hard one, man, because Izzy is a guy who's, he's sublimely skilled in his technique and his execution. But Jared Cannonier is a guy who lives and dies by his power, and he has fight-changing power. And I think one of the big things is I don't think Cannonier is afraid of Izzy at all. I genuinely don't think Cannonier is afraid of Izzy. I don't think he cares. I think he's just like, I fought heavyweights. What are you going to do to me that a heavyweight couldn't? So I don't know, man. That's the one I can't call. I don't know, because Izzy is, supremely skilled, but Cannonier has fight-changing power in each hand, and he genuinely doesn't give a fuck about Izzy. So that's the one I can't call. I don't know. I want to watch it. I'm excited, but I don't know how that's playing out.
Yeah, definitely going to be a good one. And last question for me. What's your message to your fans back home who are watching? And when can fans expect you to get back in the octagon?
I'm trying to get back in as soon as possible. Hopefully they'll give me something like that Utah card's coming up, so hopefully that happens soon, or maybe there's Arizona. I want to get 2 more fights in this year at least, so hopefully sometime something quick. As far as everybody back home, I appreciate all of the love and support, man. I get so much love and messages from guys I went to school with, all my old friends, all my old teammates. So there's a lot of love coming from Cincinnati guys. I love you guys, and thank you for the support. And I'm going to keep on keeping on until I can't do anything else.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, thanks again for the time. Really do appreciate it. It was great chatting with you, and I'm sure we'll chat again soon. Thank you so much.
No problem at all, man. Thanks, man.